everyone, my name is Marissa. I'm going to do a tutorial today for the Potomac Bead Company. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this little component here. And after I show you how to make that, I'm going to show you how to join them together to make this bracelet. See? Okay. So, for this project, you will need ZoliDuos. You're going to need both your right and your left ZoliDuos. And you're going to need 4 per component. You're going to need 4 right and 4 left. The color I have chosen today is the white blue luster. You're also going to need RounTrios, and you're going to need 1 per component. And the color I have chosen today is the metallic Aqua. You're going to need some crystal rondelles. I'm using the Potomac crystal rondelles in the 2x3, and you're going to need 4 per component, and the color I have chosen is the metallic transparent blue. You're going to need some 11-0 seed beads and some 15-0 seed beads. The 11-0s I have chosen is the Galvanized Champagne in the Miyuki brand, and the 15-0s I have chosen are the Crystal Labrador Full. Now, to join them, you can keep using your RounTrios, but I wanted to use a different bead, so I'm using the DiscDuos, and the color I have chosen is the Marine Metallic Ice. You're also going to need a cup button or a clasp of your choice. To string your materials, I'm using the Wildfire beading thread in the 0.006, and I'm using white. Per component, you're going to need a little bit less than 2 feet of thread per component. You're going to need a size 10 or a size 11 beading needle. For your tools, you're going to need scissors or a thread burner to cut your thread. And a pair of flat nose pliers might come in handy for this project. Not just to flatten your thread and to make threading your needle easier, but when it comes time to join them together, you're going to have to go through these groupings of 15-0 rondelle and 15-0 a few times. So it might get a little snug in there, so pulling your threaded needle might be a little difficult, and the pliers will help to pull it out. So get your materials together and I will show you what to do first. Okay, I got my little piles of beads. I have my 15-0s, my 11-0s, and my rondelles. And I got my ZoliDuos. Now, a word about your ZoliDuos. The way they're going to sit around your RounTrio is like this. Kind of like a heart. Like that. So before you pick them up, make sure you lay them the way they need to sit on your RounTrio. And make sure all of your holes are unclogged. Okay, you're not going to need a stop bead because we're going to tie a knot. So pick up your RounTrio and go in through one of your end holes and pull. And hold on to your thread and leave about a 4-inch tail, just something that you can tie a knot with comfortably. Now, you're going to pick up an 11-0. You're going to go in through the thin side of your ZoliDuo on both of them. And then pick up an 11-0. And this is what you should have on your needle. An 11-0, 2 ZoliDuos with the needle going in through the thin side and another 11-0. You're coming out of one of your end holes of your RounTrio. You want to go in through that same hole but in the opposite direction. So go ahead and put in your needle and through that same hole going in the opposite direction and pull, and just make sure you hold on to your end tail at the same time. And this is what you should have. Okay? Now, you're going through that end hole, hop on over and go in through the middle hole of your RounTrio. Don't put anything on your needle. Just go in through there, and now you have your working thread coming out of the middle hole and your tail on the end hole, and then now you're going to tie your knot. Just something snug. I'm going to tie it 3 times. Just like that. Now, pick up your needle, go in through that middle hole one more time, and pull, and try to pull in your knot in through there. Okay, you can feel it. It pops when it goes in there. So that's what you should have. You're going to clog your middle hole, but that's okay because you're not going to use it again. So you're coming out of the middle hole. Don't put anything on your needle. Go into that last hole that doesn't have anything threaded through it. And pull. Don't put anything on your needle. Just pull. Now you're going to pick up the same succession of beads, the 11-0, the 2 ZoliDuos, and the 11-0. Now, it didn't matter when you put in your first pair, but from now on, when you put in your ZoliDuos, make sure that when you put them on your needle, that they are all facing the way you want them to sit, with the puffy side up. They have a puffy side and a flat side. You want to make sure that the flat side is under and the puffy side is on top. So you're coming out this way, and they're going to sit like this. Pick up an 11-0, your ZoliDuo, through the thin side, your ZoliDuo, another 11-0, and this is what you should have. Go into that same hole you're coming out of in the opposite direction, and pull. And this is what you should have. Now, you're coming out of this end hole, your rightmost end hole. Your ZoliDuos are going to lay on top, just like this, puffy side up. So now you're going to pick up a 15-0. Your Zoli through the thin end, the next one also through the thin end, and a 15-0. This is what you should have on your thread. Get my tail out of the way. That's what you should have. And you're coming out of one end, skip your middle hole, go in through the other end, and pull. And this is what you should have. Again, you're coming out through this end, going. This is how your ZoliDuos are going to sit. So pick up your 15-0, your last pair of ZoliDuos, again puffy side up, going in through the thinnermost part of your ZoliDuo, and pick up your 15-0. Coming out of your end here, skip the middle hole and go in through the other end. Now, if you come out on the other side through your 15-0 that you have there, let me pull this again, through your 15-0 that you have there, that's fine, because you're going to go through all of those beads all over again to reinforce. So that's what you should have. It's a floppy little thing right now, but we're going to fix that. So I'm coming out here, and I am coming out through my 15-0. I'm going to go through the ZoliDuos. I'm also going to go through these seed beads here. I'm going to go through all of the beads once. The 15, the 11, the Zolis, the 11, the 15, the Zolis. Through all of these beads one time. After you do that, go ahead and do that, and then I will show you what to do next. Okay, I've went through all of the inner beads that we just put on, all of the seed beads and all of the ZoliDuos. Now once you do that, you want to be coming out of a pair of your ZoliDuos. And when I say pair, I mean the ones that are side by side together with no seed beads separating them. So you want to come out in between a pair. Now the ZoliDuo that you are coming out of, I want you to hop on over to the top hole and go through that. Pull your tail, pull your needle. And you should be here. Now, in between, this is not a pair because there are seed beads separating them. So anytime you're in between ZoliDuos, but there are seed beads separating them, I want you to pick up an 11-0. So pick up an 11-0 and go through your next ZoliDuo and pull. Now you're in between a pair, meaning there's two side by side with nothing separating them. When you're there, you're going to pick up a 15-0, a Rondelle, and a 15-0. And then you're going to go through your next ZoliDuo and pull. And that's what you should have. Okay, so now you're in between two ZoliDuos, but once again, it's not a pair because they're separated by seed beads. So pick up an 11-0 and go through the next ZoliDuo. And that's what you should have. And you can see it starting to take shape now. Okay, so now you're in between a pair. There's no seed beads separating it, so pick up your 15-0, your Rondelle, and your 15-0. And go through the next ZoliDuo. That's what you should have. Now you're in between two ZoliDuos separated by seed beads, so you're going to pick up your 11-0 again and go through the top hole of that ZoliDuo right there. And as you put in this last row of beads, you can feel your component start to get firmer, and it's not so floppy the way it was before you added these beads. So, and it's starting to look really nice. So pick up these beads, your 15, your Rondelle, and your 15, and go through the next one. And then here we are again. And you're going to pick up your 11-0. Go through the ZoliDuo. Great. Now here you're going to pick up your 15-0, your Rondelle, and your 15-0, and go through this ZoliDuo. And that will complete the outer row of your component. And this is what you should have. Okay, it's still a little floppy. So just the way you did with this middle row here, you're going to go through all the outer row one more time. That is going to reinforce your piece. So go ahead and go through all of these beads, the ZoliDuo, the 15-0, the Rondelle, the 15-0, the ZoliDuo, the 11-0. Go through all of these outer beads once more, and I'll meet you back and show you what to do next. Okay, I've already gone around the outer seed beads and the rondelles and the other hole of these ZoliDuos once, and I've reinforced, and I've also tied my knots. Okay, now we're going to attach the component to the rest of, I've already attached some here, and now we're going to attach this one to the rest of it. And, but before we do that, make sure that, see, when I turn it this way, my rondelle is still at the top, but I have my 11-ohs right here at the top, and then my 15-ohs. The rest of my bracelet, I have my 15-ohs. So when I turn it, now I have my 15-ohs at the top, and now it matches the rest of them. So just make sure that yours match, whether you have the 11-ohs or the 15-ohs. Just make sure that they are all matching with the way your component is sitting. Okay, first thing you're going to do, get your DiscDuo. And once again, you can use RounTrios, you can keep using your RounTrios, you would just need to adjust the number of seed beads. Then I'm going to pick up an 11-oh. And then I'm going to go through my grouping of 15-oh, rondelle, 15-oh. And pull. And don't make sure not to pull your thread all the way out. And again, leave enough to where you can tie a knot. Now you're coming out of the other 15-oh, pick up another 11-oh, go through the other hole of your DiscDuo, and pull. So this is what you should have. It looks pretty loose and it feels loose, but you're going to tighten it, so don't worry. Now you're coming out of the other side of the DiscDuo, pick up an 11-oh and go through your other component that you're going to attach through this grouping of 15-oh, rondelle, and 15-oh, and pull. Okay, now pick up another 11-oh. I know this looks messy with your tail sticking out here, but it's easier to do it this way, and you'll see why. Okay, after you've picked up your other 11-oh, you're going to go back again into your DiscDuo, and then pull your string and your tail. And there you go, you've tightened it. So now you're going to reinforce it again, and you're going to go through the 11-oh, the grouping here of the 15-oh, the rondelle, and the 15-oh, through the DiscDuo, through the 11-oh, this next grouping over here of the 15-oh, rondelle, and 15-oh, through this 11-oh, and then we're going to tie a knot here, and then we're going to bring it into our DiscDuo. So let's do that. And again, it's going to loosen a little bit again, but you are going to tighten it once you tie your knot. Through this grouping. And this is probably the part where your pliers are going to come in really handy if you can't pull the thread out. Sometimes my fingers are slippery and I need help, and it helps to use those. Pardon my bead mat. Okay, now I'm going to go through the 11-oh, DiscDuo 11-oh again here. And again through this grouping on the other attached component, through all of these. And pull. See, it's already pretty snug. It's on there. Go through here. Now you're here. I managed to get my tail in there. Okay. Now your threads are meeting. Kind of push them to the back and tie your knot. And see, if I had tied my knot by, if I had just done it to where I would have had to have tied my knot right outside the 15-0 and the Rondelle and the 15-0 grouping, I would have had a hard time later on passing through those beads. So that's why we started at the DiscDuo the way we did. So, okay. That's done. Now let's go through the DiscDuo. You can still wiggle in there and then come out. I'm trying not to, okay. Come out and pull your knot as best as you can in there. If you can't get it, there we go. It's good. So I'm actually gonna burn this off already because just leave a little bit and then I'll burn it down. Okay, so I'm coming out here of my DiscDuo. I'm gonna go through my 11-0. I'm gonna go through the grouping again of the 15-0 Rondelle and 15-0. You could actually leave your bracelet as it with the component attached like this. Well, like this with the DiscDuo. It's already attached, but I thought adding a few seed beads at the top would make it prettier, especially since the component is really pretty. You just want to make the attaching part here, you know, just as pretty. Okay, so you need to come out through this 11-0. Now we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 15-0s. I couldn't remember how many I added, so, but there's 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through your 11-0. Through your 11-0. And there we go. And they sit up top there. Really cute. Okay, now go through this grouping again. I'm coming out of the Rondelle, and which is fine. I can just go through the 15-0. No. Okay. It's best to catch your 15-0 the first time around because it's kind of snug in there. and it's going to be hard to get it. So let's try to get in there now. There we go. There. Okay. I have my little tail there sticking out. I'll burn that later. Okay, now through this 11/0, pull and pick up your 5 15/0s. 2, 3, 4, 5. And go through the next 11/0 and pull. And there you go. You have decorated the middle attaching component. Now, go through this grouping again. Again, here we go. Let's use our pliers. I don't see. Okay. And pull. Okay. Again. There we go. There we go. Coming out of the 15/0. And as you can see, this needle is really it's ready to be replaced. But it was already crooked when I started, so it has served its purpose. Okay, pull. Now, go through your ZoliDuo. And pull. And let's right on over. Now, you can just tie a knot here and then just attach your cut button over here, or you can just take your needle and just ride on over to this grouping right here of 15/0 of the 15/0, the rondelle, and the 15/0. So I fit, my needle still fits, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm not gonna cut it, I'm just gonna thread my way over there, needle my way over there. So I'm gonna do that. There we go. This crooked needle is not really helping. But I'm almost done. So, okay, almost there at our grouping. I think I'm just going to switch my needle because it's getting very difficult to to work with this. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back. I'm going to switch out my needle, and then I'm going to attach my cut button, and then we're going to do our loop, and then that'll be the end of our project. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I made my way to this grouping, and I'm coming out of this 15/0. Now I'm going to attach my cut button, and I'm going to decorate it with a rondelle also. So I'm going to get another rondelle, and I'm going to pick up 5 11-0s, and you can use your 15-0s for this if you like, but I want to be able to pass through my beads comfortably, so I'm going to pick up 11-0s, and I'm going to go through my cut button, through, see how it looks like a bowl, through the underside of the bowl, and then I'm going to pick up a 15, my rondelle, and a 15, and I'm going to go through the other hole. Okay, coming out of the other side, I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-0s, go through the middle 11-0 of the 5 that I just added on the other side, which shouldn't be the third one, and pull, and I'm going to pick up 2 more and go through the 15-0, the rondelle, and 15-0 on the opposite side of where I'm coming out of, and I'm going to pull. And this is what I have. Now I'm going to go through all of these beads one more time. Through these, just to reinforce. And if you want, you can even go through it a third time, which I usually do, but for recording purposes, I'm only going to do 2. Through your rondelle, and down the 15-0, and all of these beads that you just added. So there you are. You want to come out. Now go in for the last time, this grouping here, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0. And you should still be able to do it. Yes. Again, flat nose pliers might help, or needle nose pliers. And pull. And it's secure. Now we're going to do our loop. So I'm just going to tie a knot here. Go through the ZoliDuo. Go through this ZoliDuo. Which I know I can. There we go. I'm going to come out through, I can feel that I'm going to come out through this 11-0, which is fine. You just don't want to burn your thread at a knot, or cut your thread at a knot, or I don't like to cut my thread at a knot. Not right at the knot, anyway. Pull this. Now I'm going to burn it. And I'm going to tie, and I'm going to dab a little glue on that knot there. So I'm going to burn this. And I'm going to go to this end and do my loop the same way that I put on my cut button. So I'm going to go through this grouping here of 15-0, rondelle, 15-0. You can do your loop from these beads. You don't have to do the 2 and then you don't have to leave here like how I did the 2. You can just do your loop here, or you can do it this way. It's up to you. But I'm going to pick up, I don't know the count, but I'm going to pick up enough to where I can go through my cup button comfortably without it getting stuck. I also want to make sure that it's not too big. Sometimes when it is just a little too big, not too much, you can get away with this. You can do a round of peyote around it, and that will tighten it just a bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. So that's why I say if it's just a little too big, that might help. But if it's just way too big, well then no, that's not going to work. See, this is too big. I have too many beads. Even with my crystal, I have too many beads here. So I'm going to take out a couple, maybe 3. Okay. And, but I am actually going to put, you know what, I'm going to leave 2 on. And I'm going to go through the 3rd bead of the ones that I put on, so that it'll look like the other side of where I put my cup button, just so that it matches. It's just my preference. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to pick up 2 more and go through this grouping again. And I left my tail this time so I could just tie a knot. So there we go. I'm just going to test it just to make sure. And let's see. There, and it's actually pretty comfortable. All right, so I'm going to go through these one more time to reinforce it. And again, because of filming purposes, I do it 3 times, but I'm only going to do it twice. So I'm going to go through all of them, through all of these. And I really like this color champagne. It's really pretty. It's not too gold. It's just a perfect color of gold. It's not overly gold. It looks fake and weird. It's just a really nice soft color of gold. Well, like champagne. Okay, so I'm just going to come out here and I'm going to tie my knot. Just a simple knot. And I'm going to actually try to put it towards the back. That way when I burn my thread, the little burned ball won't be to the front. And off camera, I'm also going to dab some glue on it. I've become a gluer just recently. Okay. So we're good, and I'm going to burn these ends off now. Just enough. Then once I put my glue, I'll burn them down even further. So there it is. There's our bracelet. And this is how it looks on. So there we go. with your ZoliDuos, your DiscDuos, your seed beads, and you don't have to attach your cut button at the component or your loop at the component. You can put another DiscDuo, and but mine was getting kind of big, so I just did it this way. It probably would have been easier to attach my cut button and do my loop had I just put DiscDuos on the ends. But it was already getting kind of big, so I didn't want to make it bigger. But here we go. This is what we got, and this is my ZoLovely ZoliDuo component, or ZoLovely ZoliDuo bracelet. Feel free to make earrings, a necklace, the whole set. It's a cute little component. You can really go crazy with it. So I hope you like this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching.